So I'm going to focus just on exercise and attitude for a minute. Nutrition, y'all I think know quite a lot about. The idea of exercise and attitude is your attitudes are really, I call them attitudes actually. Have you ever noticed that sometimes your attitude has you're caught in an attitude? And when you notice that voice of your attitude, you actually can let it go. So if I am wearing a hat that isn't working, I might reach in the box and pull out a hat that works a lot better. So you could take one hat off. I like to get up in the morning and I look through all my hats. There's a hat over here that says, gee, job is tough, life is difficult, I don't really understand what my boss is saying. I could just leave them on the shelf and I can put on my happy hat. Or I can put on my hat that says, well, look, why don't I just go in and learn a little bit more about a particular procedure or about people and be more committed to what I am at the office, kind of like that. This is the hat you don't want to wear very often. It's the box. It's the hammer and nail box. Just let that one go. I've got another hat here. It's like the inquiry hat. The inquiry hat is very interesting. I want you to look at the red lines. So below the red line and to the left of the red line, that's the box that we all get caught up into. Sometimes my kids get a little bit unruly and I get angry with them, or I start telling them what to do. And I get caught into the attitude. But if I can begin to free myself up, lighten up, I actually discover there's a way out. So if I'm a victim, what I want to do is I want to shift to the right, like an inquiry, like ask the question, what do I need to learn? What can I learn that is going to move me out of being a victim? In the same way, if I'm in stage 2, or stage 3 rather, if I'm in stage 3 and I want to get out of that competitive mode, I might notice that I need to learn something about listening and coaching, so I can shift to the right, learn something about listening and coaching, and shift up above the line where it's all about teamwork and it's camaraderie and it's actually helping one another to do our work and have better communities, kind of like that. Now, I said that I started running about 35 years ago. And about 10 years ago, I found out that the bone density in my vertebrae here was actually declining. And it really was a shock because I felt like I was in great health and I'd been doing all the right things. And I realized that women know a lot about calcium. Men don't know so much about calcium. But men need to take calcium and pay attention to calcium every bit as much as women. And I also discovered this gentleman here, Leonard Schwartz. So you could see he did not do anything until he was the age of 50. And he looked in the mirror one day and he said, wow, I'm overweight, I've got high blood pressure, I'm a borderline diabetic, I'm in terrible shape. And he studied exercise and really became a master in it and found that he didn't have a lot of time to devote to exercise. So what he wanted to do was spend his 30 minutes every other day walking or running. And he reached down and he picked up some weights. And I was very happy to see Lo Yin earlier had a picture of Scott Jurek, the ultra marathoner, with his weights in his hand. But when you're walking down a running path or a walking path, how many people do you see carrying weights? Not very many. And a very interesting thing that Len Schwartz discovered about weights is that if I'm going to walk for 30 minutes every other day, I can double the benefits by carrying weights along with me. Or if I'm going to run for an hour, when we were preparing for the marathon a couple years ago, I would go running. And I'd run with these weights. And what happened was, over the last 10 years, I've shifted the workout from my legs up to my upper body. So now I can stand in front of TV, I can exercise while I'm watching a TV program, I can do figures of 8 like this, and it has been amazing how much extra benefit I've gotten from just carrying a couple of weights. I recommend everybody get a pair of dumbbells. Start with 2 kilograms. You know, that won't kill you, but you'll go out for 30 minutes. If you carry 2 kilograms, the first time you do it, you're going to be exhausted. Persist. Persist. Go through it, and you'll discover what a great, great benefit this is in your world of exercise. This was something that came out just a couple weeks ago in the New York Times. It's almost like a duh. They found out that people with diabetics, they combine aerobics with weights, that they actually can reduce their blood sugars, reduce their weights. Gosh, did I see that figure earlier from Lo Yun? 82% of people that change their diet reverse their heart condition. You know, that's phenomenal. What if we applied that in our healthcare business? You know, I mean, I'm really not interested in building the greatest healthcare surgery departments in the world for people with heart problems if I could eliminate them altogether. And then what about the kids? So we all have kids, we all are responsible for our communities and our neighborhoods. If we can see it and say it and do it, we will influence the kids. We know for a fact that kids that exercise, kids that are healthy, have scores that are higher than kids that don't. I mean, exercise is good for the brain, not just good for the muscle. And of course, the diet just combines with the whole thing. I'm a learner here, by the way. I have to say that I took a walk around and you know, I can see a lot of things I can even do to improve my diet as well. So just to summarize things here in this little chart, I could say that S1, S2, S3, that's about the box. So getting out of the box and opening up like an inquiry, like what more is there that I could do? The first level is really dying. And the second level is surviving. Anybody familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs know that when you're down there, you know, life is tough. On the other hand, you stay down there by talking about it, and the only way out is to begin to learn about what can you do to move yourself up this ladder of life. And the third level is the striving area. Letting go of the me and getting into the we puts you up above the red line. I call it the magic red line. Getting up where you have a thriving organization, a thriving neighborhood, a thriving community, and that puts you up into the stage 5 where you actually can see the whole planet and the benefits of the lifestyle, the exercise, the attitude, and nutrition. Now I know that seems very difficult. It's kind of like this. Lifestyle is a job of juggling. Kind of like that. It turns out most people, I teach thousands of people in my life to juggle. And it turns out that when you start to teach somebody to juggle, the first thing they say, what do you think? I can't juggle. And their brain turns off and they don't want to do it. So I say, look, take those words, put them in the trash can over there, say to yourself, I will learn, I want to learn, and I'm going to learn. Literally, 10 minutes later, most people can juggle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. So I'll be walking around here a little bit for the rest of the day. If anybody would like to take me up on it, just ask. I can teach you how to juggle. Thank you.
That was really nice. And the juggling part, and I love the hats. Please, go ahead.
I I did have just one more chart here. If you make a piece of paper and you make columns on it, each week look back and decide, like what are my scores for lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition. You can actually put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it. And get your resting heart rate on that column and see what happens over a period of 6 to 8 weeks. I think this was my last thought, actually, which is, as you pass through life, my friend, make this your goal. Keep your eye upon the donut and not upon the hole. Now, I don't mean that literally. You don't eat donuts, because those are fried foods and white flour, but it's a great thought, and keep that. Thank you.
Any questions? And anybody wants to request him to learn jogging as well? I already, yes, me too. So we got 3 people already. Excellent. And more will join, of course. It's so interesting. But he said rightly that it's our mind, actually, which tells us that we can't do. Well, thank you, George. That was really very nice, and it makes us think. And you're very fit. You don't look 67. Now I'd like to invite John Davis to come and share his views with us. John, if I could request you to come up to the stage.